I'm a parent and I'm worried about the future that my kids are going to grow into. I think it's impossible to accurately predict what that future will look like, but we can confidently say that it's going to be completely different from anything we've ever seen before. And I'm not saying anyone take responsibility and accountability for designing a future in which humans still flourish. Instead, it feels like we've got the wild, wild west. We've got investors chasing returns, we've got engineers chasing ever more powerful models, and everyone just seems to be lapping it up, while the government acts very, very slowly, if at all. In the past, we would have looked to our government to help us shape what the future would look like, to design laws and put the guardrails in place. But governments move very slowly, AI moves very quickly, and governments are just not going to be able to keep up. I believe that waiting just isn't an option. We need to start thinking about what future we want for our children and designing that right now. So what does that actually mean? Well, for starters, we need to teach our kids that seeing is no longer believing. When I grew up in the 80s and 90s, if you saw a photo of something, it was almost certain that that photo depicted something that had actually happened. Likewise with a video. Now that is not the case. Anybody can produce any content that looks extremely realistic and includes any human being, including your child's close relatives, saying anything that they want to say. So we need to start by teaching our kids to question everything. They can't trust their eyes anymore. We need to instill a healthy level of skepticism in our children. I'm not saying we need to make our kids paranoid, but we need to encourage them to start asking questions. Who made this? Why? What do they want me to do when I've seen it or read it? And how do they benefit? And how does it affect me? These are the questions every single child needs to be asking every time they're served a bit of content. Our personal data is incredibly valuable, and that's why you'll never see my kids on social media. Long before we give our kids devices, we need them to understand that their data is theirs and it's extremely precious. Being tracked, being watched, being analyzed, being monitored has consequences, and they need to understand what those consequences are. Their data is theirs, and giving your data away now is like getting a tattoo was in the 1990s. It's permanent, you can't undo it. In fact, I'd probably rather my kids got a tattoo right now than gave away their data, although don't tell them that because they're definitely going to use this video to justify getting a tattoo at some point. We need to keep our kids offline as long as possible. There is overwhelming evidence on the damage that screen time does to our eyes, our brains, and our bodies. And we all know that virtual worlds don't nourish in the same way that the real world does. It's really important that our kids learn to navigate boredom, to work their way around the real world, to fight with their friends and have to find a way to make up, even to be excluded from social groups and have to navigate their own way back in. All of these are incredible skills that simply cannot be taught on a screen. Honestly, the neurodevelopmental benefits of climbing a tree and getting stuck are unparalleled in the virtual world. Our kids are going to have their whole lives to master how to use devices and AI tools, but they have a small window of opportunity to lay the foundation for a healthy, resilient life. We need to teach our kids to learn, then to unlearn, and then to relearn and do it all again. I don't feel confident at all that the current school system is equipped to prepare our kids for the future that they're going to be living in. And just because we keep seeing surveys about how teachers are using AI, that doesn't make me feel any better, because most people are using AI and they don't actually understand how it works, what its limitations are, and what the dangers are. So one of the most important things we need to teach our kids is how to learn, unlearn, and adapt. And we need to teach them that knowledge isn't static and beliefs can change. Alongside the ability to learn and adapt, I think there are 4 key skills that our kids are going to need to master if they're going to be successful in the future. Curiosity, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. They've got the rest of their lives to learn AI tools that will all come later, and when that time comes, I think they need to start with an understanding of how AI works, how large language models work, and what they're capable of and what they're not very good at. And when it comes to working with AI tools, our kids should be asking, what can this do for me? But also, what does this do to me? And none of this is going to matter if our kids are burnt out, anxious, exhausted, sleep deprived, and insulin resistant. So we've got to also teach our kids basic life skills. Looking after yourself and your well-being is the most important thing. That means sleep. It means eating the right foods. It means avoiding toxins, including screen time, and getting the right amount of exercise. If we don't get these foundations right, we're really going to struggle in a world that is changing so rapidly. Some parents are preparing their kids for the age of AI by teaching them coding and machine learning. I think they've got it wrong. I think that the best strategy is to teach our kids the skills they need to flourish as humans. That's the most important foundation, and everything else can be built on top of those foundations. If you agree and you need help getting started, I've created a personal AI strategy planner. It's a one-page plan that helps you think through the 6 pillars of preparing your life for the age of AI. And I've done another video explaining how the whole thing works, so it's definitely worth checking it out.